Welcome back to Instables, everyone. What the heck is going on in the market today? Continuing on down, reaching very specific levels that if we do not hold, we could have a correction in the market. And if we do hold these levels, what exact levels are we trying to bounce back above? So make sure not many people do talk about a possible correction in the market. But if we do continue on down and we do have this correction, what exact levels are we trying to bounce off of to get more intraday perspective breakouts? I'm going to go over all this with you guys. And all I ask in return for all of this is you smash that like button. And I do welcome you to the Instables room in the description below. And you will never miss a breakout alert today again. So let's jump into this one. So I'm going to go over the S&P 500 with you guys. This is the SPY, the 500 largest stocks in the market, representing most of the market. What kind of momentum do we have in the market? And what exactly are we looking for to have a bounce back? And if we do not hold this level, what exact level are we trying to bounce off of to get more intraday perspective breakouts? Now, before we get started, I do want to welcome you to the Instables room. I know the market has been very choppy. Most breakouts have been pre-market news and open. We mentioned pre-market news before market open every single day. Any halts worth looking at throughout the day or any major breakout alerts worth looking at throughout the day, go to instables.com in the description below and you will never miss a breakout alert today again. So as you guys can see here on the forward chart, again, we had a major pullback. Again, we were leading into Jerome Powell possibly mentioning increases in rates. Did not mention anything on increases in rates, but sure enough, expecting increases in rates. And as you guys can see, we did continue on down because of that possible increases in rates, which the Feds are talking next week on Wednesday. So that's going to be a very key meeting that's going to decide which levels we're at going into next week. So as you guys can see here, again, we have been pulling back, but we are now testing a very strong support that we have been bouncing off of multiple times here on the S&P 500. As you guys can see, we had a double bottom at this point in time. And as you guys can see, we sure enough bounced back from, and we did have a major pullback and sure enough had to bounce back again right before we hit 450. Now looking to see if we can bounce off of this very strong support level. And again, this strong support could definitely result in a possible correction on the way down. If we do not hold this level that we have a strong support at, then that could result in a strong move to the downside. So that is why this is a very strong support that we need to make sure we do hold. Now we are sitting at a very key level that we had previously. Again, Jerome Powell did mention previously an increase in tapering and not as much as we did expect. And sure enough had a rally because of that. Only mentioned about a $10 billion increase in tapering and sure enough had pullbacks because he did take that back. Had an increase in tapering, also did find the Omicron variant exactly at this point in time, had these major pullbacks and had a double bottom at this point in time and had to bounce back. A lot of people talking about a possible correction at this point in time and sure enough had to bounce back. But as you guys can see here, we did get very choppy and we did come back down. Tested this very key level one more time and sure enough had a bounce back. But as you guys can see, now we are back at these levels testing once again. And we did not continue on. We did break continue highs, but we did not continue on to break continue highs and now sitting at this level. Again, we do have an FOMC meeting on rates next week. So that could determine what kind of levels we do hold at that point in time. So if we do drop down below 450 and we do get that increase in sell volume, as you guys can see, if we do drop down below all of our previous sell pressure points, then we could have that large increase in sell pressure. As you guys can see, we do have our EMA lines below the MACD showing us that we could continue on down. A lot of reasons why we may have an argument for why we may continue on down, but if we do not increase in sell pressure, then in my opinion, we could hold this level. We could even wick down below 450 and possibly bounce back. As you guys can see previously, we did drop down below 450 and we did get wicked back up and we did continue on up. So again, this 450 level will be very key to make sure we do not increase in sell pressure to the downside. If we do not increase in sell pressure, then we will be looking for that possible wick to the downside to possibly have a bounce back. But again, as you guys can see, we do have the 20-moving average below the 50 showing us that we still could continue on down. And we also do have the EMA lines below the MACD showing us that we still could continue on down. So I'm going to jump back to March of 2020 so you guys can see what kind of indicators we had when we had this major pullback in the market. As you guys can see, we did continue on down, continue to have gap downs to the downside, and we did have our 20-day moving average holding below our 50, showing us that we did have that continuation on down. We did have our candles below our 20-day moving average, and as you guys can see, the same thing over here, we do have our candles below the 20-day moving average. So to get more momentum, we do need the 20-day moving average to cross back over the 50, and we do need our candles to jump back over the 20, in my opinion, to have more momentum. As you guys can see, again, we did continue on down, and as you guys can see here on the MACD, we do have, again, our increase in sell pressure, which gave us that large correction to the downside. So that is what we're trying to avoid, is that increase in sell pressure. But as you guys can see here on the RSI, we had bullish divergence here. Again, we had our trend to the upside here on the RSI as we are oversold below the 30 RSI. And as you guys can see, we had our trend to the downside here on these candles showing us that we had bullish divergence and sure enough had a bounce back in the market. We had this increase in buy pressure breaking above all of our previous buy pressure points, showing us that momentum to the upside and has been continuing on up ever since then. So now the question is, what exactly do we need to make sure we do get more momentum in the market? Again, we are trying to make sure we do not increase in sell pressure going into tomorrow and this week. Again, we do have our FOMC rates meeting going into next week on Wednesday, so that's going to be very key as well. So a couple things can happen here in my opinion. Either we do continue on down, which a lot of people are expecting for us to do, and have a major correction, a possible 10% to 15% correction. Now, if we do continue on down, I will be looking to see if we can hold over 422. As you guys can see, we have a very strong bounce back that we had previously from this point. We also had a previous confirmation on this breakout. That would be the first level I would be looking for if we did have a correction. Now, if we do not have a correction, then in my opinion, we could be dropping down to this 443 level that I mentioned previously. I don't know why it's on 441. We had our previous gap down at this point and our previous confirmation on a continuation here, bouncing back from all of this consolidation that we had previously and within this range. So either we do bounce back above this range or we do drop down into this range and we do test our previous 422 mark that we also did have a bounce back from and also continuation from. So again, the market will be on the watch to see if we can hold 450 on the SPY. Now, the next scenario is that we do hold 450 as a very strong support that we held previously multiple times, and we do have a bounce back leading into a lot of earnings this week and possibly leading into this FOMC meeting going to next week. We do consolidate and then we do possibly find our way back down, or we do continue on up depending on how these rates come out and what exactly they have to say about it. So we are definitely on the watch to see if we do have a correction or we do have a bounce back leading into earnings, and to see what exactly happens within the FOMC meeting is going to be extremely key for the rest of this month. Now, if we do have a bounce back here and we do consolidate here leading into this FOMC meeting, then we could have intraday perspective breakouts. But what we're really looking for here is to make sure we do either bounce back over 480, which would break continue highs, or we do drop down below 450, which will give us a lot of discounts in the market. So one or the other does happen. Now, in my opinion, for the sake of the bulls, I definitely do not want us to continue on down. But if we do continue on down, then we will have a lot of discounts and we will have a lot of investor interest, in my opinion, within these discounts, and we will see what happens in the market, but we will stay strong. Now, pre-market and market open have been very strong for volume, but in my opinion, if we do continue on with this momentum in the market, then we could have very choppy middays and very choppy power hours, and in my opinion, we will stay on the watch for that, and then Insta Bulls, you're making sure we do play safe. Now, again, with that said, if you happen to be interested in intraday perspective breakouts, again, I do welcome you to the Insta Bulls room in the description below, and you will never miss a breakout with it again. And all of you Insta Bulls that have been coming over and supporting the channel, all of you Insta Bulls that have been coming over from the room and supporting the channel and staying strong through this crazy market that we're in, I'm very proud of each one of you guys. Seriously, I really am. And again, if you guys do like this video, it does help me find it and it does help the channel grow, and I do appreciate it very much. And again, God bless you all, and I'll see you guys in the next video.